Hello everyone, today I'm going to be providing some post-game commentary where I can discuss some of my strategies, some of my thoughts, in this ranked match that I just played. So jumping right into it, we saw that red as first position takes a very strong 659 or wheat brick with an expansion onto the 910 double wheat brick port. This is a huge spot and it's pretty sustainable in and of itself, so red can pair this with any other position on the board and still probably be fine. I'm in second position. I snap to the 649, and I try not to think too much about this because it is a very strong spot. And some benefits that I have, I think, over the 659 are that I have the 3-for-1 port, especially with it on a 6 ore, so I'm doubling it up when I get onto that port. And as well as my 6 ore will more than likely be not shared by anyone else to start the game. So I might be able to slide under the radar from being a blocking target there, especially during the opening portion of the game. So green in third position here takes away a strong 8-5-10, although I personally may have preferred the other 8-5-10 down south. And this is mainly due to the flexibility of the ports. And these aren't just any ports, they're what I like to call married ports, which refers to the 2-for-1 port actually being on its specific resource that it ports. So here you would double up the 5 wood and at the same time get on the wood port, or you double up the 8 sheep and at the same time get on the sheep port. And I always preach impactful for settlement spots, and having these married ports is probably as efficient as you could usually get. So that's why I'm so heartbroken that black in fourth position doesn't even point toward these ports. He clearly is underestimating, in my opinion, the value of these ports, and it tells me that I should really be trading a lot with black, especially over the other players, just due to the inefficiency of how I think he's going to be playing this game, and just his lack of a focused strategy. Green also surprises me next by taking the 6-11-12 here. So I don't really ever like 6-11-12s. Whenever you get on the ports, you're really just doubling up an 11 or a 12. It's not very impactful. But I see his idea is to quickly get onto the 9-12. And what this does is, sure, that's a good expansion spot, but if you get onto that 9 wheat, you're really just makeshifting into what red already has. So don't forget that red still gets to pick. He gets another 3 hex spot, more than likely. And so he's just going to have everything that you do and more. And so it's really tough to win a game that way. So I'd probably try to fit something else in there, like the 8-4-3 on the right-hand side, point down and get onto that 6 ore. But nevertheless, here we are with a lot of great options for me, but also a lot of great options for red still. So I want to find offensively what works best for me, and offensively what worked best for red, and see which one I should take. So I ultimately decide that it's the double sheep with the married port. So if I were to leave that for red, he would settle on the 910, have 2 wheat, 2 sheep, strong ore, and 7 points of brick to port with the brick port. And so this just makes him flat out unblockable with that position, especially when that sheep port is just uncontested due to black. So I choose it, now red chooses the other 8-4-3, and in my opinion, that's a very greedy mistake, but pointing the road towards a 6-3. Yes, it's just a very attractive expansion to get, but I think it's unnecessary with how strong his setup is. So he's got plenty of production, and I think just getting an easier 3-for-1 road settle to manage this excess wheat he's going to have is just far more valuable. And at the end of the day, it's not the biggest of the deals. He has a monster setup still, and it's definitely who I'm most scared of going into this game. But yeah, that was a mouthful, so let's just jump into the game. Alright, so early on, we're trying to gear a trade towards green here. I know he has 3 wood now, so I can see a very easy trade, especially if he's wanting to set up a road settle. He doesn't need 3 wood, he only needs 2. Unfortunately, it doesn't go through. He doesn't even try to trade on his turn, so I'm unsure with what he's planning here. Maybe just wants more value, but I'm not sure. Now, knowing that red didn't get that trade for the wheat and the brick, I'm going to try to 4-for-1 resources for the wood rather than try to deal with, I'm not sure what green's doing. So, either a wheat for a sheep or a sheep for a wheat. That'll help me 4-for-1 for the wood. Or I can go back to offering multiple cards for it. To my surprise, and luckily for me, my hand gets unstuck because black wants to give me 2 wheat, helps me 4-for-1, keeps a wheat in my hand, but it puts him at 7 cards, so now he's not risk of 7ing out. And that was the incentive for him, actually giving me a better deal than what I requested. So green actually places a road down to the 9-12. I think that's good. However, with so much brick being out on the board, it's definitely plausible for him to get a trade to plow to the 9-10, which I think definitely balances out this game. And as I speak, red tried to get a city here, and of course, green, that's the trade he makes. He gives someone a city. So in order to stop a 6/5/9 city, the only way really is to just show no mercy. We have to step on red's throat here and never give up on just pounding into the ground, because they got the best setup, the most production. They are far ahead of everybody here, and they're going to be tough to beat. So, got a trade with green finally. He only wanted one card there. I think he definitely could have squeezed me for more, but it helps him settle, helps me settle, and now we're talking. My next goal is absolutely to get a city, because red already has one, and he's going to be far ahead of me if I don't up my production. Red has to 4-for-1 for a wood. This is perfect. We want him to 4-for-1 and be as inefficient as possible. Roll a 7. As I said, no mercy. Let's hammer him. I think taking away his ore is perfectly fine. And I think it helps me have a really impactful advantage whenever a 6 does roll. Now what I'm trying to do is trade for a city. Luckily, with the flexibility of the port, I can try to get a sheep here. And it's a little bit easier to get a sheep than maybe a wheat or an ore this early in the game. But luckily I get the trade, I get my city. And there we go, the benefit of the 6. And a 9. Whew, could we use an 8 here? Another 7, no mercy. 9 wheat, let's hammer red. Because we have to. He's gonna kill this game. I debate the 5 brick, but I think the 9 wheat is a little better. I know it just rolled, but I figured if I steal one there, it bounces out just a bit. That's okay. I was able to buy a knight there, which is great, because I want to be able to always hammer red as much as I can. I know it's weird that I'm focusing directly on him, but I think I have to when he has a setup like this. Green, with some great 11-12 rolls, is really producing and expanding very quickly. Someone I need to keep at top of mind, but luckily with the 6 and the 9 blocks, even with the 5 block, I'm blocking him as well. Lots of rolls there for me. I think I take this trade with the ore with probably anyone else, because I want to buy a lot of development cards now, or even city up. But with red, I want him to be as inefficient as possible, and hopefully don't roll a 7. Of course you do. No mercy. We gotta attack red. I was really hoping to get a sheep or a wheat there, or is one of the worst things, but luckily black bails me out. He gets the deal. Alright, so now a 9 here would put me with the perfect hand, where I could double dev and really just feel like a comfortable lead. There it is, beautiful. These blocks are really paying off. These numbers are rolling and they're missing out big time. Red's also stuck. This hasn't even been able to settle yet. And that's a consequence of getting a city so early. People are definitely less likely to trade you now. What I'm trying to do here is see who would want this to help me triple development card. It's very greedy, but at least I'm starting high and maybe I can work a deal to either city or double dev here. Now this is a big decision. I decide 2 city instead of double dev, primarily because I do have the defensive knight. I don't think anyone else has a knight. Red either has a road building or a victory point. We're not too sure yet. And so I think the city's fine, just ups my production, and I should be flexible enough to buy development cards given like any other role, honestly. Okay. Red's not getting any trades for the settle here. He's gonna have to port all his cards, which is what I want. This is a great deal. I can't really give him a wood. So, alright, he 4-for-1s for a wood. 7 out again. But no mercy. Back on red. Let's try to snag his wood that he just 4-for-1. That'd be killer. We get a brick. It's okay. And in the chat, he does get a little frustrated with that, but that's alright. He does have a city on a 6/5/9. So, now he does say there's 2 other players at 5 points. I'm one of them. So what I say is, okay, are you just saying I should be robbing green instead of you? With the idea of him admitting this and creating some sort of chilling effect rivalry between him and green. He doesn't bite it for that, so it's not a big deal. But yeah, I decided to actually build a road there instead of development card. I don't know, actually, looking back, if that's the right answer. Because red could have a road builder. He could absolutely waste that road for me. And so I think buying development cards is probably just a better thing there. And we just save up for the road settle on whether we get like a road building or you're plenty from the development card, or just when we have a better hand to do more than just a risky road. Now red is trying his hardest, the greatest deal ever, to get the settlement down. And I take it with anybody else. Even normally, if that trade's not bad for me to take, honestly. But him being stuck at 9 cards and possibly 7ing out is much better in my book. Especially when I'm self-sustainable with this setup. So I buy a development card, get another knight. I'm rightfully robbed here because I'm looking pretty good. And so I can taste army in my hands. You just have to close it out. Great trade there. Finally gets the settlement. Black's looking good to get a city soon. So you go ahead and block there. We show a little bit of mercy. We attack green this time. They're also doing well. I don't want red to be too mad. I want them still to have fun, right? So now we can either development card, we can settle, we can build a city. There's lots of things. Looking at this now, I probably would have built a settlement. Reduce my hand size. Take away that risk of red plowing us, even though it's pretty small now, but still. I don't think we need the development card. I think we're pretty secure as long as we're not blocked. And since we still had 1 knight, we'd be good for a few rolls there. So the 6s are absolutely popping this game. Red buys another development card, so definitely having more defense is great. Fortunately, we go right after them, so they block me. I can take it right off. I'm just thinking of who to steal from here. I think green isn't a bad bet. Especially when red's going to be blocking and stealing from somebody too. Maybe I get a little bit of better karma before he does so. Here, fortunately I don't have this 3-for-1 because I decided stupidly not to settle on a 3-for-1 port. So I'm going to try to make this a little cheaper so I don't have the 4-for-1 ore. But ultimately I think 4-for-1ing ore is the right move here. We should have settled a while ago, but that's okay. And my hand isn't stuck, so luckily we don't have to force anything. Rightfully, no one wants to trade us. We are in a great spot this game. Now, do I city or do I settle? Oh, I city and pass at 7 cards. Another thing I disagree with. I think we just settle and we're chilling this game. So questionable decisions. It looks like I was maybe very confident in this game, so made some questionable decisions here. Here I'm trying to help black extend. Absolutely not necessary for me to do at all, but I'm hoping to get a wood in return or another wheat, and so that would just help make my hand more efficient. Luckily I get a wood, that's best case scenario, except if I roll a 7. So now it sets up the settle that I need to win, but they can only steal 1 card from me here, and that's the ore. And luckily they do that. And so we know we have the win in hand. We're going to go ahead and play army, take from red anyway, because reinforce that no mercy. We let him off the hook for a bit. And we have the win. We're going to go ahead and flex, try to get a victory point win. We don't. That's okay. Settle. Game over. But yeah, outproduced the table there quite a bit. Had full robber control. And that's how you show no mercy, step on the opponent's throat, and make sure that you can come home with a dub. Now, if you're looking to play a ranked match just like this, you can for free on colonist.io. Now, Colonist is absolutely the best platform to play online Catan. It's exclusively where I practice and play. They have the expansions of Cities and Knights, Seafarers, even wacky maps like a Catan board in the shape of the United States. Awesome way to play with your friends or in a competitive setting. I absolutely recommend. The link will be in the description below, and thank you, Colonist, for sponsoring this video.